Well, we're in traffic on the way back to Ohio, and what better thing to do in traffic than finish your videos? So I'm going to go through the 2-year-olds, all the 2-year-olds, and I think this is important. You know, every year as we get closer to qualifiers, it's important to have updates for your 2-year-olds, but as you get closer to the conclusion of the year, their stake season, it's always important to have. Some of these horses are turned out, and they've been out for a while, so they'll be coming back. I told every October 1st, but some of the horses have been out since June, right? The end of June. You have all of July, all of August, most of September. At any point during the latter part of September, they'll start coming back, and ACDC is one of those horses. He's been out a long time. We'll bring him back. Most of the horses that'll come back right on October 1st that went out early, obviously we want to reassess those horses as we get closer to as we get into 2026. They'll be ready the very latter stages of 2025 or the early stages of 2026. But that whole first part of 2026 is to reassess. And, you know, there's nothing worse than training your horse down, waiting all the way till March and April, and realizing that you don't have a stake horse, you have an overnight horse. And by the way, those overnight races that were cheap in January, February, March, they're gone because now it's almost April. So reassessing these horses, especially when they've had more than enough time off, is very, very important, and ACDC is in that category. Aunt Sarah, a little bit different. I think she's showing miles, at least 1 or 2 miles in 58. Hers was immaturity and a little bit of soreness in a number of areas. So I do want to give a horse like her a little more time off. So she'll likely be the first or middle part of October before we bring her back in. Bianco Spiaggia has gone back to Mr. Swagger and Ginny now, so I have no idea if he'll be coming back with us or not, but he's gone out to the field. Blue Rare is racing right now. She'll race through the end of the stake season. She's already won a grassroots event, fourth in the first, a second in a first in her grassroots events. So she's up near the top of the leaderboard, although she missed the first one. Second one she was second, third one she was third, and the fourth one is, yes honey, you can use my headphones after, all right? Maybe on our way to Scioto, is that okay? Because you're supposed to be reading your books quietly to yourself also anyway, right? And not playing tabby so much. And your brother's going to do his homework due on Monday or Wednesday. He's going to do that when we cross.
Due on Wednesday.
Well, I'll tell you when it's due. It's due by the time your summer's over, and that's the due date I gave you. So you will be working on that when we get into the United States.
Estimated time in traffic, 7 minutes.
Well, that's better than 21.
I guess.
So Capistrano Knights, here's an interesting prospect, and I'm kind of torn. And she didn't make it easy on me. I thought if she qualified poorly, we'd turn her out in the field. If she qualified good, we'd race her. What if she qualified great? What if she qualified tremendous? And the reason that's a problem is because she's still on the right line a little bit in the turn. She still wanders a bit. She's still super green. A little left hind going on the track. So she has her issues. Now, we have a number of things going on. One, the Buckeyes are going to go 54, 55. So who cares about 58 and 4? She's good enough to win a maiden right now. There's no problem there. But what do we do after her? After with her? What do we do? Or do we be very conservative and turn her out now with the intent to bring her back in 60 days and have a very good horse? Hopefully, possibly, potentially. I'm torn on that right now. I'm waiting for Dr. Latessa's assessment of this filly also over the next few days. They said same. She didn't start out bad after the qualifier, but still the same. A little off left hind, a little peggy up front. If I was to guess, she, something bothering her up high left hind because she jogs out of it, and there's no indications of any lameness when she's racing, and probably her knees, I would think, would be the issue with her, the pegginess up front if I was to guess. So we'll see. Still in limbo. The good news is she qualified great. She looked very, very good. Clearly lots of speed to offer. How do we foster that? How do we grow that properly? Turn that down a little bit, Ivor. Cherry's Girl's in tomorrow. She'll race through the end of the Sire Stakes season. She'll race in the final of the Consolation, I'm sure. And then we have Virginia with her, and that will be it for her season. There might be one or two in between, something like that. They always have the stakes that are at the Meadows in Philly. That we're not going back to Philly. In fact, I'll talk about Rico Tubbs in a minute. I don't even want to go to his next leg of the Stallion Series. He won the first 2 legs. He's in the final for sure. I don't even want to go to the 4th leg in Philadelphia. It's literally hotter than the hubs of hell, and we've had no luck there for a number. Last time I remember us having great luck in Philadelphia was Lawmaker, for the love of God. So, we'll talk about him in a bit. Degas has been racing good. Scope's sick last week. Now Eric, right on top of things. She's training tomorrow. The other fillies trained today. He said she's training tomorrow. We did an SAA test on her today, and it's 4, which means she is healthy and staying healthy. So again, after the training trip, treat her for the training trip, and then scope her after. But it seems like Eric is well in front of this, which is very, very good. Diosa Della Danza, I schooled her in 58 the other day. She was good. She'll race next week. Not sure where. Don't Ask Again is in Sunday at the Poconos. The reason that we're going to the Poconos, Addie and Ollie and I tomorrow, is to race Diosa Della Danza and sorry, not Diosa Della Danza. What am I talking about? Cherry's Girl and Don't Ask Again. Dune will race in Michigan on the 20th. I had sent a message over to Lauren. I'll send one to Donnie. I think we can talk James into go driving this horse on the 27th if he wants. And it's pretty hard when you're racing for $100,000 not to have James there, right? I would rather have James drive our horses that I drive than me in most cases. I had asked him to stay for Zena Kemp. I forgot to make the driver change, but quite frankly, there's at least a chance that Zena Kemp will be driven by James on Wednesday. I assume Dexter is picking off of the filly. If that's the case, and I want to leave Wednesday afternoon to make it back to Northfield Park, I think it makes all the sense in the world to have James drive Zena. It's not like I'm so much more familiar with her training-wise, yes, but as far as racing-wise and how a filly is, if she warms up good, I think there's not really much reason not to have James drive the filly. So that's kind of the way that I'm leaning in regards to Zena Kemp on Wednesday. Again, we'll talk about her in a minute. Emerald Tom was simply sick the other day. And somebody said, well, he just got over the virus. But did he? We treated him. His blood come back good. But when we scoped him after, he looked a little lethargic in the heat. We scoped him after. There was some mucus there. There was some redness there. And then the next day he was a little bit picky and seemed a little under the weather. I don't think he got over it at all. So he is going to need a week to get over this stuff. Had to Know will come back in again. Some of these horses will end up in Ontario to train back. I would love the idea of Had to Know training down on the 5/8 and racing at Mohawk. He exhibited the ability and the want and drive to go out and do his work well. So I certainly have no problem with him being over there. Over here. Hanger 1 is in on Monday. Again, just some experience with him. Do we go to Corbin? Possibly, yes. We have some options with him. The goal of Hanger 1 at 2 is to set him up to be a good Hanger 1 at 3. That's always the goal. Now, if he explodes forward, wins handily Monday, and looks great, looks good in his next race, well, then we can start changing the trajectory of this conversation potentially. But still a wide berth and a very open playing field with respect to highest honors. Hanger 1. He's a Fearless Peter. The playing field is narrowing on him. Yes, I used him hard at the corner. He was parked around the first turn. I had a number of emails, people saying, well, Anthony, you drove him really hard. Okay. But he never been driven hard in his life, right? Like that was a mile he should have aspired to. He should have followed the leader, been second, and there would have been rave reviews afterwards instead of fizzling out in a well-beaten fourth. Addie and Ollie, turn those down. Addie Bear. Thank you. I know why you wanted my earphones, and I'll give them to you after. Maybe when we stop in Angola, I'll get them for you. So he's a fearless beater, just needs to do a better job, right? And he's lucky that the sale isn't this Monday and it's next Monday. He's getting one more crack. He's in the 2-year-old maiden now. If he can't at least look like he should or would or does or will handle them on Wednesday, then he has no business being in our barn. And that's the reality of the situation. Of all the horses we sold or might sell, he's the one when I look at him, I'm like, he's got the gait to be a better horse. His attitude, would he mature as a 2-year-old into 3? He might, possibly. I'll tell you what, Highest Honors certainly has impressed me. You know, we had him ready, we knew he had speed, very immature, very raw piece of clay, so to speak, we were working with. His mile the other night, although it was only 58, he only beat up on maiden horses. It was impressive. He did everything the way he's supposed to do it. Didn't get too grabby at the gate, followed a helmet, exploded forward in a merciless way when I moved him, cleared the lead, opened up and won easily. He did everything. It was A+. A's right across the board. He did nothing wrong in his last race. In New York, we castrated him, turned him out. Just want to see him come back and be a nice colt. That's my hope. Jailbird Jog, what can you say? Last quarter in 26 seconds flat the other day and at Lexington. She looked very, very good, and I was really impressed with Jailbird Jug. JK Mega will likely race next weekend if there's a race. If there's not, it'll be the following Wednesday. But we'll race him, I suspect, 3, 4, 5 times and then put him away for the season. My hope is that he comes back like the last 2-year-old stud that we castrated and turned out at his 2-year-old season by Captain Crunch. We've only ever had one. And, you know, from the people that have gone with him, I talked to Yannick, I talked to Scotty, they all gave him a pretty glowing report. You know, a lot of upside with JK Mega. Let's see how that pans out over the next year. Jolene Hall was incredible the other day. Of all the fillies, she wowed me the most. She's a winner if I get through with her, and I'm going to drive her like she was a winner last week. Also, she's got a 3rd and a 4th. A win would help her be put in the right position. So that's what I want to see from that filly this week. Judy's Money has just been tremendous. Just a very, very, very nice filly. And again, just continues to exceed expectations every time she goes on the track. Leland Hanover, again, we turned him out with purpose. Want to give him lots of time, bring him back, and see what kind of horse he is for us in 2026. Lifting Legend. Here's a horse that has got better and better and better. Every start they've raced him pretty well and raced very, very good his last start. Very intrigued and interested to watch him race in Clinton this weekend. For those of you who are also wanting to watch him, I think Facebook or YouTube, maybe on YouTube, Clinton Raceway Live, or on Facebook, Clinton Raceway. They usually have a live tab and you can watch the races that way. Love Sensation, another one. High hopes for this filly this year, didn't pan out, but those hopes can be transferred, and I hope they will be, into 2026. She's shown talent, tenacity, and understanding of her job, and a willingness to do it properly, and those are all very, very important things to have. Megan's Lucky Day, same thing, maybe on a smaller schedule, and smaller being because she is smaller. I would like to see her do well. We will give her time, bring her back. Now, her and a couple of the other horses are on a different, there is another path just over here. And if it turns out that they don't train down or race as well as we'd like to see them at the start of their 3-year-old season, then we do have the ability to transition them into that broodmare sector, right? Where we would sell them as a broodmare, or even get them in foal and sell them in foal as a broodmare. These are things that we can do also with Megan's Lucky Day. Millie Girl is racing tonight. I'm curious how she's going to do. She was sick 2 weeks ago, still a tiny bit sicker last start. They said she trained well and is preparing well for tonight's race, so I'm interested to see how she races. My name's Wayne, great yesterday, just pinned in, mired in traffic, but I suspect there's a maiden victory in her very near future at the Meadows, and then we will turn her out. Neuromancer, going to give him all the time. He's all out of maybes, mights, and hopes and dreams. He needs to show us what he can do when we bring him back, and we will be bringing him back. He's going to have lots of time off, train him back properly, and then we'll see what's what with Neuromancer. Perfect Dot races next Friday. Somebody said, well, why isn't she in this week? Well, they entered her. but they didn't have enough for 2 divisions, so they went right to the final. Megan believes it'll be a $60,000 final next Friday or Saturday for Perfect Thought, which is fine by me. Pretty Eyes and Lies, another one that I just want to see come back. I want to give her the time. She showed that she wanted to do her work, had some hesitation, had some soundness issues in her knees. Nothing major, just baby stuff. And rather than switch to a management situation with her, we switched to a turn her out and bring her back type path with that filly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Rico Tubbs, I haven't told anybody this, but I have no interest in going to Philadelphia with Rico Tubbs. You know, he's had a long summer. He has had his issues that bothered him a little bit. The ones with his knees and feet were bothering him a little bit. That was pretty prevalent in his last start at the Poconos. I believe the final for the Buckeyes, or for the Stallion Series, is the Poconos again. And you know what? I'm more apt just to say, no Philadelphia, give him a week off. Even if we school him, train him, whatever, race him, I don't care. But I have zero interest in going to Philadelphia for the last leg. We don't need the points. We have them. We're racing for 20 grand. But when you factor in, 1, how things have gone for us in Philadelphia. 2, the track, the surface is different. 3, how hot it is. I just think we're potentially inviting trouble, and I would rather just skip it and focus on the Buckeye final with Rico Tubbs. Riding the rodeo, again, prospect with her, rinse and repeat for now. You know, we're not going to put too many more starts in her before we turn her out. Somebody messaged me and said, well, I think we should just get rid of her. Okay, well, I guess that's a matter of perspective. If you think that she's going to be a sire stake filly or should have been and are disappointed, well, I don't think that's necessarily on her. She had that one qualifier in 56-4. James picked off her in the qualifier, nonetheless. Jody won the qualifier in 56-4. She looked good. She's paced 56. She might have paced 55. Got beaten 58 her last start, but I think she's a decent overnight filly that could grow into be a grassroots filly potentially. But I wouldn't be too demoralized because your horse didn't make it to even grassroots Buckeye Stallion Series level. It's tough. It's tough racing. What happens is if you have some killers in the sire stake level, it just shoves everybody down into that Buckeye Stallion grassroots division, and it makes it that much tougher. There's nothing wrong with that. Those are quality, tough horses in the, you know, in those divisions. So no, I don't think there's any reason to get rid of Riding the Rodeo. I think she's gonna be an okay filly for us at 3 also. She's been an okay filly this year too. More traffic, yay. Rose Run Bobby is going to be out in the field. We're giving her all the time. She's going to fit into a very similar trajectory as Almost Neuromancer. You have to show me. Now, you've learned, you've raced enough times, you understand your job, we're going to let you mature, sound up, fill out, grow up.
Estimated time in traffic, 7 minutes.
Thank you, Siri, or whoever that is. So we'll see how Rose Run Bobby comes back. Royal Duchess, 2-2-2 the other day, and she peed all over me. I was not happy at all. Just in heat bad, but still 1 mile and 2-2. Her next start will likely be at a fair. I want to go to the fair with her. I haven't gone to a fair all year. So we'll see what fair we're going to next week with respect to Royal Duchess. Royal Flush Dio, same type of thing. You need to show me more when you come in. There's some horses that have showed us plenty. Grow up, fill out. I'll see you at the end of 2025. You know, racing wise, hopefully. There's some horses that went out. I'm going to give you all the time, but you need to show me. Right? Two different boats heading in the same direction, so to speak. And Royal Flush Dio just needs to show me more. Simply Chaotic, he's kind of in between both boats, right? I think he has shown a lot. He did show that 1 quarter and 27 seconds as a baby, but he needs to grow up, fill out, sound up, and show us more. Solidarity, we've talked about him ad nauseum, quite frankly. Race him, he'll likely be his last race on Sunday. Castrate him, turn him out, and let him fill out and grow up. That's the plan with Solidarity. Steady Volo will race again on Wednesday. I expect a much better mile from Steady Volo than we saw last week from him anyway. Steph's Hope, again, hard to judge her because her mile, she's always found the softer division, right? But she needs to take advantage of that also. So we'll see how Steph's Hope does this week. Sterling Hanover is going to come back over to Ohio. I want to keep a very, very close eye on him for now and see how he is in the next 3-4 weeks, at some point he's going to have to go out to the field. I would like to get a little more work into him and then kick him out to the field and bring him back. Again, he's in the I expect you to be a better horse. He doesn't really show me any bad attitude. He had his issues, predominantly his airway, but we've been working on that and it seems to be working well. Supermind, you just got to keep him healthy. That's the name of the game with him. Raced great his first start, made a break his second start, raced terrible, then raced great, then raced terrible. Now is next. I need to be back to great, if you don't mind. Sweet Lake, she's all done for the season. 2-year-old mark at 56 in the stake race. Great family. I just have no interest in chasing the 52 miles in the grassroots, the Stallion Series. It's insanity. She's a June foal. Turn her out, let her grow up. That's exactly what we're going to do with Supermind, or with Sweet Lake. Tomboy Strong was sick the other night. She'll come back healthy and stronger for it her next time out. Uncle Danny, same type of thing. Just need him healthy. His next time out will be at Scioto, I believe, I hope. He seems to obviously get around a 5/8 better than a half. He'll get around the half, but much better on the 5/8, whether it be the Meadows or Scioto, that's for sure. And Woodmere Bullet, great mile from him. Unexpected 9-1 morning, or 9-1 going to the gate. It was a winner in 58, first over out the whole mile, and raced very, very good. A great job by Corey McPherson driving him. Great job by Jamie. As I said, with everything else, you know what you're doing is right. Keep your head down, work hard, and good things will happen. And that's exactly what happened with Woodmere Bullet. And then Xena Kemp fits in the exact same category. 2-year-old filly that made a break. Not really a shocker. Get back to work, do it right, keep your head down, and we'll get things moving in the right direction. So that is your 2-year-olds. You're all up to date now with the 2-year-olds. I'll be back with the 3-year-olds and the racehorses in just a minute.